special guests today. We have some ladies coming in. I'm super excited. Hold on. What are their... Well, I feel like we should say that they're going to be here, right?
Well, yeah, they're not here right now. So we're in pre, you know.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Take me back in.
I have to take you back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, blah, blah, blah. Number 45, gentlemen. How you doing this evening?
What is going on, guys? It is... oh, man. I'm feeling 45.
Me too.
I got the stirts today. Stirt claws.
Stirt claws.
Thank you, Don. For starting that.
Yeah.
How do you play Madlibs?
You never played it?
Is it like taboo where you're like, you can't say that word?
I'm going to ask you for like a noun or an adjective or something, and then we build a story off that. You'll get.
Okay, but I'm more of a math guy, so I don't know what those are.
Oh well.
This isn't going well.
In our state, so he did that. Hello.
What else could happen? I don't know.
I'm telling you what. Johnny's gone now. Where's Johnny at?
Oh my goodness.
So Lillian, I
Yes.
need an adjective first.
Uh-oh. I need to go back to school and learn basic English, apparently. Thought he was going to start asking me about fractions, and I was like, oh, no.
Although I do know 2/3 of the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast was on the happy birthday video. 2/3 of us has been banned by Depop.
Meatloaf approved. We're 2 out of 3.
You go ahead, Marla. I'm trying to get rid of a tickle here. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So we tried that as well, and that's been experience for sure. We've met people like Stuart and ourselves. You okay, Lil?
We've never had anyone die while filming.
Well,
Another first here.
this episode 45 is just taking off.
It's
You know the funny
Lillian's
thing?
first and last time on our podcast.
You know, the first podcast I watched of you guys, all 3 of you said, this is the most disorganized podcast we have ever run. And I was like,
Until now.
I think
I was going to say, as you can tell, it has not gotten any better.
Lillian, are you okay?
Blink twice
Are
if
you
you can hear
choking?
us.
do we need to send help?
Of course, out of all times, this has to happen now. So
And we started WhatNot probably 2. Am I freezing?
A little bit.
You're like,
Am I freezing again? So we started selling on WhatNot in March.
Ironic, the one with the fanciest
My internet
microphone
doesn't-
has the most trouble.
And it says my internet's fine. Can you hear me?
Tell the auctioneer real slow, Johnny. Speak real slow.
Hello.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast, episode number 45. Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Guys, 45. We are back at it again. Guys, excited to be here. Episode 45, a very special one, as we have 2 very special guests. We have Lillian, Pengwenboss, and Marla from SchmidtAuctions here. We're talking ephemera. It's going to be exciting. Guys, one closer to our goal of 200 live coming soon.
There's Lillian. Hello, Lillian.
hi,
How
guys.
are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Thank you for having us. I think Marla should be getting on if she's not on already.
How you doing this evening, Marla?
Very good. Thank you. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you for
Nice to
inviting
meet
us.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks for being
joining
here.
us. Yes, thank you so very much. We appreciate both of you all for coming in on the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast. Guest of Stuart and us this evening.
Anything else, Wes and Johnny, you want to say about yourselves? I've known Lillian and Marla a long time, so there's not much else I can say. But
Well, I'm very tall. I'm 6'6". I'm a high school and college basketball referee and a school teacher. And then I'm also a reseller. And I met these guys over the past couple of years. Like we said, Stuart and I both live in Knoxville, Tennessee. Of course, Johnny's across the mountain over there. But on my Slim Flippers channel, I interviewed both of them at separate times. And then we just started talking, and this is how we've all came together to form this triumvirate, if you will, of resellers. At least them two, anyway.
Episode 45 now, right? This will be.
It is episode 45.
Yeah, this is episode 45.
Nice.
Wow.
Good number. Good number.
Yeah, and
Well,
we use the term reseller loosely with Wes. He's the founder of the Finders Flippers podcast.
I see.
That's a skill. That's a secret skill.
Kind of like you did with that marriage certificate.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. Marriage certificate's a whole different thing. So
Oh boy.
That's a long story. You can watch some of our previous episodes to hear all about the marriage certificate saga. So
yeah.
Oh,
the marriage that almost caused the Finder Flipper divorce. So, you
That's
know.
right. It almost caused a divorce.
Drama. We love that.
I didn't know which dad I was going to live with after.
Oh boy.
Well,
It's a scary time. But guys, I'm Johnny. I'm average male height. I don't know. Wes was doing like a dating app intro. I'm just average male height.
you can find
Walk
what's
on
the bio.
Poetry. No, my wife and I are resellers. She's full time. I'm part time. But together we make up Frizzy's fines, and I'm contractually obligated to hang out with these guys once a week. So we do this too.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Suri, what's
Running.
all right, and then I need a superlative for Marla. I'm glad. I don't know if Wes and Johnny would have known what a superlative was. So.
That's like it's like an exclamation or something like that, right?
No, I only know nouns.
Johnny and I are both going to struggle in this class. So
Yeah, this is the most uncomfortable I've ever been on this podcast, and it's because
We feel like we're in school.
I'm going to be willfully
Yeah,
stupid. So
I'm a math guy. What's superlative?
As I'm sitting here looking it up,
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was going to be a test this evening. So
Yeah,
we will say. So is that like an
wait,
exclamation?
how do you spell
What would be like
superlative?
the like greatest, funniest, lamest, whatever.
Oh, lamest, definitely lamest at this point.
So that's your
I'm
final
lame.
answer.
This
Final
one
answer.
here.
So you're going
By
with
now she's
lame.
thinking I'm on the lamest podcast in the history of the world.
Well,
Oh my gosh, these
we've
guys.
gone from mediocre to lamest now.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right, Wes.
Not
I
you
need an
guys, not
adjective.
you guys.
I need an
That was
adjective.
lame.
Adjective. Beautiful.
Oh, that's a good one. And then we have a plural noun, Johnny. That means that it ends in an S.
ducks.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That was pretty safe.
So we need another adjective. This one's pretty short, so we're about getting to the end. Adjective, Lillian.
How about spinning?
And then how about a plural noun, Marla?
Good grief.
Balls.
Balls?
You have to understand.
Another
I got
adjective.
fireworks. How did I get
Look
fireworks?
at that.
Wow.
Yes.
You just said the magic word of the day.
Wow.
Oh, was that
Yes, you
something?
too, Marla,
Was that
win
like a
$500
Pee Wee
bucks.
Herman thing?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. That's exactly.
We're gonna
what it
go.
was.
We're gonna go two at a time now, Wes. I need an adjective and a plural noun.
Wait, but what is that's an adjective?
I guess it can be, but
It's
I think
descriptive.
that's
It's
a plural noun.
okay. The plural noun there, Wes. I really didn't think this was going to be that hard.
Stern, I don't think you thought this one through, my
You
friend.
guys are not obligated to stream this.
I will say that is the first time the word has ever been used on the podcast before.
You
Yeah.
don't know us.
You'll get to know us a little better now.
I mean, when I did this on WhatNot, people like just
Wes,
fired those things off.
I got a lot of clipping to do.
guys, this is when Wes does this. This is where he tells himself to cut this part out. So if you just see him
Can't get the
clapping
cutter
a
big
lot,
enough.
He's doing a big
Let's
ass.
go, everybody. Join me. Woo!
Johnny, two adjectives.
Licking quickly.
That's not an adjective. It's got to describe something.
Got to
Like a
describe
color.
something.
Oh boy.
Orange.
You can tell that we didn't do very well.
Unbalanced.
Unbalanced. That's a good one.
It's Johnny.
Guys,
And then Lillian, verb ending in ing.
How about you just fill them in, Sturt?
How about burping?
Burping.
Hey, there's only 3 more. We need a beverage, Marla.
Liquid death.
What?
And give us 2 adjectives, Marla.
Sticky and fluffy.
All right, so here's our proper introduction to Lillian and Marla, aka Pengwenboss and SchmidtAuctions. Get ready, listeners, because episode 45 of the Finders Flippers Podcast is going to be a running ride. This week, we're joined by the incredible duo Pengwenboss, aka Lillian, coming to us from sunny Florida, and SchmidtAuctions, aka Marla, who also runs a thriving high-bid auction business alongside her reselling on WhatNot. These two are among the lamest resellers in the game. Lillian and Marla are beautiful leaders in the ephemera category on WhatNot, where they organize ducks, raid trains, and spinning special events. Whether it's diving into vintage paper balls or curating collections for high bid, they've mastered the art of balance and creativity and hustle. The Finders Flippers crew, Wes, Johnny, and Stuart, will chat with these ladies about their reselling presidents.
Well, you got one. You got 1 out of 2 right.
Where's Tracy? Is she going to stick her head in?
You got 2. That's true. She's right here.
Marla's experience with high bid auctions, Lillian's life in the orange sunshine state, and their unbalanced teamwork. Plus, they'll share tips for burping on WhatNot and the secrets to hosting a successful raid train. So next show, I want to see y'all both burp. So grab your favorite liquid death, sit back, and join us for this sticky, fluffy episode. Don't forget to tune in, don't forget to tune in, fill in the blanks, and share your results in the comments. The AI kind of.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah,
So in all seriousness, I got to know Lillian. Well, I got to know Lillian and Marla both through WhatNot, but Lillian and I got to know each other pretty well because we were kind of co-leaders of the paper events on WhatNot, which we inherited from the godfathers of the paper events, Popeye's Postcards, who we've had on the show before, and then Ben. What was Ben's handle?
New to you provision.
Oh, new to you.
So, in any case, Lillian and I took those over and did it for about a year, and then Marla jumped in when I retired from the position. And I mean, they've taken it to a completely another level than what it was when I was involved. I mean, they do so much, and really outside of WhatNot, I don't know what else y'all do with reselling other than I know, Marla, y'all have the auction company. So I didn't know if you wanted to tell us a little bit about maybe how y'all got started in reselling, how you got into WhatNot, what else you still do besides WhatNot, and just kind of your reselling story, I guess.
Sure. Do you want me to start, or you want Lil to start, or
whoever wants to start?
So we run a auction house in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and we sell on WhatNot, and that's about it. We do sell a little bit on eBay. We sell coins primarily, so but nothing super duper like odds and ends anymore. We kind of got away from that because it's a little bit of a pain in the butt with all the different platforms we have going on. We try to basically just take estates in and slice and dice them, to the best platform basically. And it's been a challenge to figure out how all these platforms fit in because the market keeps changing. As you guys see, it's changing rapidly. And then COVID hit and everything like that. And so we saw an influx of auction houses come online. And so our whole industry has kind of been disrupted. So I think it's kind of settling out now that it's a few years post-COVID, but we've certainly seen a lot of changes over the past couple of years. And I'm sure you guys have too with the reselling industry.
Now, did y'all have your auction business pre-COVID then?
We did. We were kind of weird. We kind of missed the boat. We were like, you guys got to go online. You guys got to go online to all these auction houses that were only live sales, because that's all they knew and that they were super successful at it. And frankly, as a dealer, I was like, yeah, okay, fine. Stay like that, because I was buying inventory and reselling it on eBay for ourselves. Now, we live in a state that requires an auction license. So that was kind of what forced us to get our auction license was we were attending these live sales. We were scooping up all this product. We were putting it on eBay, and we were wanting to like go the next step, which was to run our own auctions and get our own fresh estates like these auction houses were doing. But we wanted to bring it online. And so as we were going, my husband went to school first in 2019 to get his license, because you can't really do anything on HiBid without a license. We were basically taking all the steps to go online at the same time that we didn't know COVID was about to happen, and it happened, and then all these established auction houses all jumped online, and so we found ourselves basically the little guy once again. Like we were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go online because all these other auction houses are just staying live sale. And then COVID hit, and like now everybody's online, and so like we were like a little tiny auction house online, but it's still okay. You know, we get we're more of a service to the community rather than buy out people. So we do kind of deal with like everything from contents of sheds to coin collections. You know, so it's kind of feast or famine sometimes, and it's a hard industry to be in for sure. So that's why we diversify and we do WhatNot. We try to do a little bit of eBay. We tried to revive live auctions as well, but they're really kind of dwindling. In favor of estate sales, which is kind of weird because, like I said, we live in Pennsylvania. We have a lot of auctions, but even lately, we're seeing more estate sales come through. So I don't know if buyer preferences are changing or what. So we just try to keep, a feel of all the different markets as best as possible.
So do you also have to have the auctioneer's license for WhatNot in Pennsylvania?
It's all the same license. It's a AU license, and it's pretty much the same. Once you get that, you can do live sales, you can do Facebook sales, you can do WhatNot sales.
But is it required? I mean, is anybody living in Pennsylvania technically supposed to have an auctioneer license to sell and WhatNot?
Technically, yes. The way the system is set up is that you only really get in trouble if somebody reports you. It's like a form fill out kind of a system. So it's really hard for them to enforce it across the board. So it's kind of like if you get big enough, I guess, and cause enough attention, you can potentially get reported to the board. And if they find that, it's all about the auction method, basically, is how they define it. And if they find that you're using the auction method to sell something, then you're an auctioneer and need an auction license. So now that's where a lot of the gray area comes in, because then they start to question, okay, well, who is the auctioneer in this situation? Is the auctioneer WhatNot? Is the auctioneer eBay? And that's what some people are saying is the argument is, well, I'm not the auctioneer in the case of eBay. I'm not the auctioneer in the case of WhatNot. It's a computer doing it. I'm not calling the bids. And you can argue that, but it's at the end of the day, there's still the licensing board, and they're still going to issue you, I think it's a $500 fine initially, if they find that you're using the auction method without proper licenses.
That's like 30 WhatNot shows for me. $500.
Well, one guy in our area had 3 people selling under him, and he got walloped 3 times. So $1,500 he got fined. Yep.
Yes.
The key is to talk slow, right? So they don't think you're an auctioneer.
They're fighting over it too, because even when I went to school a few years after my husband, and the year that I went, they were trying to lobby to remove the auction license. So, which New York State did a few years ago. They used to have a license. They don't have a license anymore. So, no right or wrong. It's just each state has their licenses, and if you want to mess with it, go ahead. You can pay a lawyer to fight your case if you want to. We just chose to comply. It wasn't as bad as we thought, going in. So we're glad.
That gives you other outlets you can sell them to. I know here in Tennessee, I did a lot of research when I first started on WhatNot, and as long as you're selling your own stuff and not consigning stuff for people, selling other people's stuff, you're good. And then also you can run up to $25,000 before you have to have a license. So, so at least
Are
here
the
in
licenses expensive?
Yes, they are. They used to only be about $150. But a few years ago, there was a lot of enforcement that they did for whatever reason. I don't know if someone just went through and like across the board complained about all the Facebook sales that were happening because COVID happened. It forced a lot of people to do online sales, and that was where they went. And so there was like a wave of enforcement they did a few years ago. And when they did that, they upped our licenses to $400 a year
Oh, wow.
now. Yeah,
A year?
Every 2 years. Every 2
Still,
years.
yeah.
Yep. And we have to be bonded. The bond's not so bad. The bond's only about $75 to do.
But still, yeah.
So is this y'all's full-time job, Marla? Is that what you and Dan do for a living?
Yep, we chase down jobs basically. We like to do whole houses because obviously you never know, whole fresh houses preferably, but oftentimes we get picked through estates and things like that. Like when your phone's not ringing a whole lot, you're going to take whatever job comes basically. And it's very seasonal. It's feast or famine. People get to cleaning out around springtime, stuff like that. So we find that it's busier during certain times of the year.
So what's kind of your percentage breakdown of revenue between the different platforms that you're involved in?
It's interesting that you asked. We've been actually talking more about moving into a niche, primarily because of WhatNot and my whole exposure to ephemera and seeing some of these postcard auctions that are happening in the same space that we're doing our own auctions, except we're doing household goods and they're doing niche markets. So I think for 2025, I want to push more into niche markets and just doing specialized sales because it seems to be that's where the money is, even though we like to be service-oriented people, because a lot of the customers we work for are little old ladies who need to pay their tax bills or something like that, and they don't have any income other than what they've collected over the years. So it's really tough to stay kind of balanced between. But I would say the primarily our income comes from our high bid sales.
Okay.
Primarily WhatNot, I really just call a hobby right now because it doesn't, you've been on WhatNot, Stuart, it's hit or miss sometimes.
Well, yeah, and that's one thing I'd love after we kind of get Lillian's story, I'd love to maybe circle back and talk a little bit about what y'all think the state of WhatNot is right now. And, it'd be interesting to hear that from two people who are on WhatNot as much as y'all are. So,
absolutely. Yep.
Where exactly, Marla, is it Pottstown where you live?
Pottstown. Yep, we're just about 45 minutes out of Philly, west of Philly, in between like Lancaster and Philadelphia. We're kind of right in the middle, around Reading, if you know Reading area.
Mm-hmm.
How far are you from Punxsutawney?
Ooh, I think that's west, isn't that, Dano? Punxsutawney? Yeah, that's more central of the state. Our state
That's
is
my
huge.
bucket list.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've already made my bucket list. I'm a big Steelers fan, so I went to Pittsburgh back in 2011. So
no way. I think my husband told me that they're playing the Eagles and the Steelers, I think, are playing this weekend. So
this Sunday.
yeah, so that's a big game for a lot of people.
For the
So
state.
yeah, you Keystoners are just going to be all in a tizzy.
so
Johnny's been in a tizzy most of the week, though, Marla. He's a big Buffalo Bills fan, and he took it on the chin this past weekend. So
Ruh-roh.
Glad we're still talking about that, guys.
yeah, might as well.
Oh, no.
At least, Marla, you don't live in Pottersville, right?
No, not Pottersville, but Pottsville is about an hour north of us, and that's famous for having the first beer brewery, I think, Yingling
Oh yeah.
Brewery
Okay.
in America. Yep. So people get that confused all the time with Pottstown, but it's a very good place to source. I'll tell you guys that much. It's a very good place to source. All of Pennsylvania is a very good place to source.
It really is, yeah.
yeah, I would love to come. I mean, just the different parts of the country, the different things they have. I know there's with all the history up in the Northeast. I mean, yeah, I would love to come sourcing up there sometime. Maybe we
I'm
can
going
take
too.
this
Let's go.
Maybe we can take this podcast on the road one weekend. So
We're going to do a wide swing through Pittsburgh, though, first.
Should we tell Stu what we're planning to do in April?
Yeah, we're gonna be up at the Allentown Paper Show. It's in April. Marla, you remember the dates? I should have.
We are renting a booth though, and we're gonna stream. We're gonna stream from it. So if you guys do come
somebody said Stuart's favorite word.
if you guys do come up and want to do that, yeah, come on up. That would be a good weekend to do it. April
I forget what
26th and 27th.
that's the weekend before my daughter's getting married. So something tells me Amy's not going to let me.
Yeah, you guys have such a busy family life. I love it.
Yes.
Johnny, it's all right. You and I. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. I know the poor guy hasn't even had time to get a haircut.
I know. Look at him.
Yeah, that's the most hair I've seen on you of facial hair, Stuart, in a really long time.
What do you guys collect?
He wants to be Teen Wolf for next Halloween.
You're gonna start looking like Dano soon.
I was gonna say I'm partial to a bearded man, so that's why I wasn't saying anything.
You
I was
live
like,
with
you
one.
look just fine. You look just fine.
That's funny.
So what do you guys collect? I wanted to know what you guys because we know Stuart sells ephemera. Do you guys also go into do ephemera or just anything?
You know, when you talk about Wes, the word collect is actually right on cue there.
I like some of the things that I purchased.
Not much.
You can't go wrong that way.
No.
Yeah.
Wes, what kind of things do you like to acquire?
What do I like to acquire?
Mm-hmm.
Besides marriage certificates.
Well, I tried to. Quick story on the marriage certificate. Stuart and I, we had never met before. Actually, we had met one time before, and he said, "Hey, let's go to this estate sale." And I said, "Okay, I'll meet you over there." We'll get over there, and by the time I get in the house, he's already worked up a good sweat, and he's digging through every single little bag and everything. So I slip behind him, and I find this marriage certificate from 1912. And I just wanted to know his opinion on it. I thought, hey, this could be the first ephemera piece I might ever sell. So I turned around and it was framed. I said, hey, look, Stuart, what do you think about this? He grabs it out of my hand and goes, yeah, that's great, and sticks it in his bag and walks out of the room. I'm like, well, okay.
Oh, no.
You know you had a good eye.
We have a little bit different recollections of exactly.
I wasn't giving it to you.
Sides to that story, I bet.
So he kind of swole me up.
I'm going to give you your $6 for it, Wes. I'm going to give you your $6.
Oh my gosh,
that's funny.
Oh, is that where the $6 came in when I looked at your guys' last week's show with the $53 type Beanie Baby whatever plus the $6?
Yes. He just sold it for $12 in his booth, the license. So I said, all right, I want 6 of those.
There you go.
Yeah, and I've been consigning Beanie Babies for Wes. It's a very lucrative business. So.
Oh gosh, can't move those things to save your life.
Lillian, you just haven't found the right place, Lillian.
Stuart, you can have mine. You can consign all the ones we have.
Hey, he's got a little.
Sell them for $5 a piece. I put them at floor level in the booth, so when the kids come in, they see them and they beg their parents to get them. So.
Oh, gee,
the guilt.
Lillian, this was my very first purchase as a reseller, and I couldn't believe people weren't buying these things. Not, little did I know this was 3 years ago. I thought, man, I've got me a deal here. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Wes saw one on eBay that had sold for $35,000.
Oh yeah. So, that was my first listing.
Oh boy. Oh no.
And
I priced it cheaper at $25,000.
Oh no.
So my wife and I, we sell predominantly clothes. We have some hard goods, but very little. I don't want to ship anything that could break.
Yeah, we're like definitely not into that. Stuart's all about shipping things that break. I just.
Oh, by the way, of my 13 packages that were lost.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
All but 5 have now started scanning, so I'm hoping the other 5 will. These are things I dropped it off at the post office on December 2nd, and they just started scanning today. I took like 30 packages or so to the post office, put them on the loading dock like I always do, and then 13 of them just like disappeared. So.
Wow.
But everybody, I was very proactive and reached out to everybody, and everybody that I reached out to was very understanding, and they finally started tracking today. So that was a big stress relief off of me.
I bet. Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, man, I got a refund, $200 something or so. But anyway, so Lillian, why don't you tell us a little bit about your reselling journey and how you got started and where else you sell besides WhatNot?
So I'm the one half of Pengwenboss, my wife, who now went out to the lanai. She's the one who got me started on collecting and selling ephemera, basically. She's been an avid collector since she was a child on stamps and inherited a whole bunch of really antique, beautiful postcards from her family that, has since passed. So she's been into that for, like I said, the good part of the majority of her life. So, so she collected it as a hobby at first, as a lot of us do. And then she had to do a little early retirement. She has MS, so she did an early retirement as a nurse. So then she did, she always did a little bit of eBay. So we've been on eBay, I think like Stuart, for like over 20 years. So that she's always kept up, but we sell a variety of items on eBay. It's not, we don't stick to one niche or anything. But then, like Marla, I work full time out of the house, so I do like a full and half time reselling with her. So very busy. But so then I started. She learned about WhatNot on some other YouTuber and said we should really look into this. So she did, and then we started a little after Marla and Dan. So we've been on there now. We're going on 2.5 years. So we liked it. It was different. We've never done live selling before. We sell on some other platforms, but not anything major. And then we just kind of liked it. We liked the people on WhatNot. It's mainly for us. It's like a social thing. It's a social app, right? Because you're interacting with people. You get to meet a lot of people like I would have never met. Stuart and Amy and Marla and Dan and so forth. So we love it. So then our thing was, well, what do we want to sell on WhatNot? So as Marla was saying, WhatNot can be kind of sketchy. One day you do well with one thing. Glass is a big thing on WhatNot, which I do not sell glass. I don't like glass. I never want to ship a piece of glass. These people are selling swung vases that are taller than me, and how that doesn't break, I have no idea, but I don't. So the fit seemed to be really for us was paper, was ephemera, and it has grown. I mean, I can't tell you how much room in my house now is full of bins of ephemera. So, and that's how we got to selling ephemera. Then I met, Popeyes. He's the one who did the trains at first of ephemera. That's how I met Stuart, and then and here we are 2.5 years later, strong, still selling. We pretty much stick to, unless we get some things in auctions that we want to, move out a little faster than on eBay. We pretty much just sell ephemera on WhatNot. So now I've been a collector. I like old antique photos, like the girl types and all that kind of really old pictures from the early 1800s. And I love the photo part of it. Tracy still loves the postcard and stamp side of that. So, but that's what I like to collect. I have a huge collection now of ambrotypes, daguerreotypes, and Marla, I'm missing the word for the other one because I'm still thinking of my cough instead of what I'm supposed to say.
Tintypes.
There's the girl types, Amber types, and then there are, I forget the, but
I
yeah,
know you collect stereo view cards.
and I like my stereo view cards. Yes, that I have too many of, which I've tried to now downsize on those. But so that's how we came about, and that's how I met these guys on
Pin
the
types?
WhatNot. Huh?
Pin types?
And I like my 10 types. Yeah, it's kind of the same kind of same photography. Yeah. So that's us in a nutshell. So
Cool. Yeah, Johnny used to be a WhatNot seller as well, but y'all haven't done a show in how long now?
I mean, it's got to be almost a year now.
oh really?
We did. So we started. Yeah, we started reselling. It'll be 3 years next month, and we were doing hat shows, and we were absolutely killing it. Like we were doing $400 or $500 a show, selling used hats. Amazing. So then my wife started to do clothes, and she was doing $500 shows, and we're like, oh my God, this is like quit our jobs. Like we're going all in. And then the $500 shows were $300 shows, and then were $200 shows and $100 shows. And we made more money listing and putting more efforts in cross listing than all that went with doing WhatNot shows.
So how long did you do that for? Like on WhatNot?
About a year and a half.
Oh wow.
That
So-
might be.
Yeah,
the
we
same I started was March of what was that? March of 2021. Maybe I started in 2021. I think. I don't remember now. I've been on there a while. So
The same time as us, Stu. I'm pretty sure you came on the same time as all of us. But the funny thing is, at least clothing is doing really well and has its own category. Freaking ephemera and postcards got hacked out of antiques
Stuck in
and
the basement.
put all the way down into the extra categories, the and whatnot categories. And so our natural traffic is abysmal in that category. And yet here we are. We're still trudging along.
was there ever any explanation as to why they did that? Because that's kind of originally where ephemera started, and then they created the own ephemera category, and then it seemed like it was doing really well. Then just randomly they nixed it.
I think we kind of got screwed because had we never been named in the first place, had we not been antiques, ephemera, and postcards as the main antiques category header, we would have never gotten axed.
Right.
And we would still be able to list under antiques just as a subcategory ephemera. But for some reason, they hacked us out of antiques and put us like as if we're a standalone category. We're still antiques, like I don't know. I don't know.
Like, those ephemera people are getting too big for their britches. Let's knock them down a couple notches.
Well,
put them back in their place.
The explanation we got was that when they did their analytics and all there wasn't high on the priority of categories that were doing really well, which surprised me because like Stuart says, for a while there, we were pretty competitive with a lot of the other categories, and then all the other categories got their own slot, and we just got slashed, so we don't really know. And no one really gives you a straight answer. It's really hard to remember, Stuart, back in the day when I know Marla remembers when John was on and he had a direct link to someone and whatnot, and he could call them or email them. Yeah, that doesn't exist a lot now at all. So it's difficult to get hold of someone.
I mean, and I guess compared to their core categories like comics and Pokemon and ball cards, ephemera is small. I mean, because the biggest ephemera shows, very rarely do you see an ephemera show with 100 people in it. Okay, occasionally maybe, but
50 is our max.
And you go to there's like 600 comic shows at any given minute, and there'll be 100 people in every one of those shows sometimes. But tell me if you think I'm wrong on this. I mean, I know so, and y'all were just like me because y'all came around at the same time, and Johnny would have too. I mean, it was really hard to get accepted on WhatNot. You had to prove how much inventory you had. You had to submit a video. I think right before I came on, they were actually doing like interviews with people. I did not have to do that. But I can remember I got into it because Primetime Treasure Hunter, Dominic, had a YouTube show with a couple of guys on it who were selling on WhatNot, and they were talking about it. And he, I think I emailed him. He said, "Yeah, you need to apply." He said, "It's really good if you can get accepted." He said it's hard, but and so I was on his Facebook group, and like 99% of the people are like, "I've applied again, and I got denied again. What I have to do to get accepted?" So I had really low expectations, and it took about 7 or 8 days, but I did get accepted. And then I can remember like when Popeye asked me to be in that first Paperpalooza. I think the first event was Paperpalooza, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can remember I had like 165 people in the show, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And I made like, in an hour show, made like $500 or $600. And, and then I think WhatNot, I mean, I know my brother who, he's a reseller and he'd probably do okay on WhatNot, but he's never even applied to WhatNot. And he got an email from them saying, if you apply, we'll accept you. Never.
Yeah.
And,
well, they did away, I think, with even like onboarding. I mean, it seemed like for a while there, everyone was getting accepted. Like the turnaround was like within 2 days you got accepted, and we're like, how are they then, monitoring that or filtering that? They really weren't. So I went from, like you said, video, onboarding, a one-on-one. They wanted more videos of your of what you had, and if you didn't send enough, but yeah. And then I don't know, Stuart, and I know you're on one of the districts, and then a lot happened, and then
I don't ever sell there either, though. Like live sell, I did a few shows, but it's really not, in my opinion. For what I sell anyway, there's not really an ephemera crowd there too much.
Right, but then that all started, opening, and everyone opened a different district channel, if you would, and so yeah, I don't know that. I think more people have come around again as far as ephemera people, I think, like Marla on WhatNot, but it's not like it used to be at all. Like you said, like when you would have, an hour shows or sales of $500, $600 easily. That has changed.
I mean, the people, it's really saturated the markets with sellers, and it's hard to when there's. I mean, ephemera still does okay. It's there's still times you can see there's just a couple of shows on, but I mean, the thing I think WhatNot did the real disservice to people is not only did they let people on who've never live sold before. You get some people that look like they never sold on any platform before. They don't seem to know anything about shipping, anything about anything related to reselling, but yet they're trying to sell. And then it gives WhatNot a bad name when they ship stuff. And I mean, I bought some stuff from a couple of different people, and put a glass jar in a box with some tissue paper around it and ship it. And then they're like, oh, it didn't make it safely. I mean, I put some paper in there. It's
or you send paper, antique paper or whatever, and it's not properly packaged. I just throw it in a priority box and call it a day. And I'm like, no bag, no nothing. It's like, yeah.
So do y'all feel that WhatNot, will there be a point where they will try to come back in and rein things back in, or is that kind of Pandora's box probably already open?
What do you think, Marla? I know right now their biggest thing now, they're trying to hit some big sellers or people that are very charismatic, and they call them community chats. I don't know, have you seen many of those, Stuart? So they kind of, I don't want to say they work for WhatNot, but they kind of get incentives from WhatNot, and they do these community chats, and they seem to be bringing in a bit more of their category, whether it's handmade or garage sale finds or whatever it is. So I don't know. What do you think, Marla? I think it's pretty saturated.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just such a wild west. It's just a new platform, and like with anything, we're all just kind of pioneers. And the thing that I try to stay focused on is that it's a new way of selling. Everybody that I know of that produces static auctions, like I call static auctions, where you just process it and it closes on high bid. Everybody that I know that processes static auctions like Hybrid or like WhatNot because of the social aspect of it. I agree that the retail prices are just not being realized right now there, so it is really hard. But even all these people that have been doing Facebook Live sales also are trying to get their customers to just join them on WhatNot because of the back end is so much easier than manually invoicing. And even experienced Facebook sellers I've heard say, come on, you guys, you don't just want to come on over to WhatNot, because it's just easier for them to keep track of everything. So that's kind of what I just stay focused on, even though sometimes I have really bad sales. I just try to keep my inventory costs really low, anything that I do bring to that platform. And then I just try to remind myself that I do think that it's the future of selling. We just kind of have to get through these growing pains. And I think that's why Pengy and I migrated to this little group of sellers that we've created here in the ephemera category, because it is a little bit of a cohesive group that we have established now. And it's we can at least know that we can go on a Saturday and run an event with anywhere from 12 to 20 people, and it'll be fine. We'll get anywhere from 20 to, if we have Popeye in, 50 to 50 people at the max in a given day. So to me, that's valuable because WhatNot is so unpredictable. We've at least created something that we can say, oh, okay, we at least, can count on this.
Right.
So I don't know what else to say other than just keep everything balanced, right? Don't quit your day job, like you were saying, and go all into WhatNot. Keep yourself diverse, like you could do anything else, right? Like even your
it's changed a lot. Like even in the clothing category, and this was part of, I think, the reason we got out is we were doing, we thrift, right? We're thrifters. We're going to Goodwill, things like that. And, we have bins here, so we bin shop. Anything that we found, we brought to WhatNot, and it's mostly resellers in at least in clothing. And then prices started to drop out, but everybody and their mother started buying pallets, and so everybody had new with tag, and you could get new with tag even if it was a lesser brand. You were getting new with tag for the same price as something used, and it was hard to compete with.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes total sense.
And then the debate there too, which still happens even with that, is the $1 sales. There's such a big, I don't know, you either, on one side or the other, so to speak. And we're still having the same discussions in different categories, all right? A lot of people, if you have a following, that you bought over from Facebook or Instagram and you're on WhatNot, you could start your stuff at $1, right? And then you might do well, but then other people do it and they flop. They don't do well, and everybody's like, well, why do you start stuff at $1? Everybody else is going to expect $1 starts, and you don't make money on $1. You know what I mean? Like you're wasting your time selling anything at $1, even paper. By the time you take out fees, packing, your time, you've made maybe 20 cents or 30 cents, if that, on $1. So.
And all these platforms have fees. They're all expensive in my opinion. The cheapest way to run a sale for me is a live auction. There's like literally very little cost, very little fees, but people don't want to buy that way anymore. So,
and I miss doing the regular WhatNot shows, but it just got to be, since I'm doing this full time, I just have to ask myself, where am I going to get my best return? My returns on eBay, Etsy, Poshmark, all the other platforms are so much higher than WhatNot, especially considering the amount of work that goes into a WhatNot show. Because I'm typically cataloging my stuff versus just unboxing type things. I've done both, but and that's why I typically tell y'all, I don't want to do a 30-minute show or a 15-minute show, just because I feel like the amount of work that goes into it's the same whether it's 30 minutes or an hour, but it's just hard to make much return in a 30-minute show. So,
and that's why you have to diversify, as Marla said. Another thing Tracy and I are looking at, as I, hopefully want to do an early retirement myself, is working with other vendors and paper people to do, and it's a dying kind of a thing too, but doing more paper shows. We're going to hopefully do this one in Allentown, which we're also going to be selling. But other places like with Mary Martin, trying to do one with her in DeLand maybe next year. We weren't ready for that this year. It was just a little too soon for us, but it's a big commitment. It's a lot of a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, but I'm doing something like that, and that's where I can see us as a couple doing, in the future. So,
is it expensive to get a booth at those like at the Allentown Paper Show or
$310?
Oh, really? How big a space is that, or how big a spot?
That was 3 tables, I believe.
Oh wow! Yeah,
it was only another $20 for 4 tables.
And then get 2 pegboards so you can hang up, your advertisements or whatever you want to hang up on it. So.
And that's for like a whole weekend, like a Friday to a Sunday?
It's a 3-day, so you set up on Friday, and that's where a lot of the dealer selling happens. And then Saturday, Sunday is open to the public, 9 to 5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, the only kind of paper shows I've ever seen in Knoxville, they'll have stamp shows, but you mentioned Tracy collected stamps, and as a kid, and I did too. But there's not many hobbies that skew older than stamp collecting. I mean, that's a very much dying hobby.
It is. It really is.
And, I mean, part of it's just because it's not an easy, to determine values of stamps, you got to have so many tools. You got to have your watermark detector. You got to have your perforation guide. And
Stuart, don't stamps just tell you what they're worth? Aren't they just printed on the stamps? It's a 3-cent stamp.
It is not an easy thing. No, not at all. What has value, U.S. versus foreign, but what foreign has more value? It's a lot. I mean, Tracy could go on for hours to talk about stamps, and it's a lot of work to. Yeah.
There's all these like very subtle color different, like carmine versus magenta. They're both red, but they're very subtle. But one might be worth 10 cents, and the other one might be worth $20. So.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess before we let y'all go, anything social media wise, or I think everybody knows they can find you on WhatNot at your Pengwenboss and SchmidtAuctions. Is that the same for Instagram and other places you are?
Yep, yes, Facebook, Instagram, the 2 of us have the same name on all 3 platforms or social media, yeah.
Pretty easy to find, yep.
And you have a website as well, don't you, Marla?
Yes, SchmidtAuctions.com. You can see what we're up to with all ephemera trains on WhatNot and our hybrid sales. Whenever we put those up, we update that page as well.
All right, and we'll put all those links in the description of the video, so make sure you check those out.
And we will share your guys' video as soon as...
Absolutely. I jumped the gun a little bit there, but I fixed that. I will repost, and we have an event on Saturday. So if you get me the link before then, I will direct people to that so that they can subscribe. How close are you to your goal?
So we're at 183, I think, and so 200.
Oh, we can do that this weekend, Pengy, I think, right? Between the 2 of us?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so that's our challenge. We're going to get you guys to 200 this weekend with our Ephemerama event on WhatNot. Yeah, if you have an account, stop in. What's your username? We will use that
shout out,
to promote. Yep.
I mean, Stewart's, but
yeah, ours is the Frizzy's Finds.
Frizzy's
Mine's the Slim Flippers.
Oh, you have one too? Yeah, y'all should be in the pre-show then.
Yeah, you can let everybody know this episode will probably drop next. It'll either drop next Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. We've been playing around with different drop times, but yeah, you can go ahead and let everybody know that y'all's episode will be coming out next week, and go ahead and point people to the channel, and so they can get subscribed and notified when y'all are on. So.
Okay,
absolutely.
That's the challenge. Thank you all for having us. I appreciate you.
We appreciate you all a whole lot coming in tonight and joining us.
I think it was hilarious. My coughing, phone ringing. That one disappeared. I don't know. There was a whole lot going on.
Next time, can we play a game that's like fun and doesn't give anxiety? And
I've got one, Johnny.
maybe a number game or
I've got one, Johnny. Let's do Buffalo Bills sports trivia. How many Super Bowls did they lose in a row?
Football. But Stuart, yeah, he's right. We always do these Madlibs on WhatNot, and they're always a hit. Marla does them all the time. So,
well, next time I'll print out a cheat sheet of what all those words were you were talking about.
And one more thing. Aren't y'all both up for some WhatNot awards or some kind of awards?
Oh my gosh, I know. We're so
Yes.
honored. The crafting category, one of the sellers, the Suburban Bish, Bish, she put together a little awards thing, and she had two tiers where the people could choose or vote for their favorite. She had all different categories: themes of events, train planners, best displays, use of time, all this kind of stuff. And Pengwenboss and I got nominated for best train planners, and we also got nominated for Odd Ephemera, which is one of the events that we created. So we're super excited about that.
which
So
is
is the voting still open on this?
Yes, it's still open. It's on my website too. The link is right on my website also if you want to vote for Pengwenboss and Schmidt.
that is one area, Stuart, that's really growing in the ephemera category, at least on WhatNot, is the postmortem and all the oddities in ephemera. We did that first one, and the people were still talking about it, and that Marla and I, we planned another one right away. We weren't planning on doing it, maybe quarterly, maybe every 6 months, but we had a waiting list of people like, I want to go on it, and so we're gonna do it again towards the end of this month, right? Marla?
People are literally dying to get in there.
Literally.
We thought we had a screenshot from the show that we could put up in one of those at the very back at the beginning. But
Yeah, so I don't know. It's some people either are freaked out about it, or but people pay good money for the postmortem photos and everything else. I mean, I went to an antique shop on my way back from my last trip to PA to see, going to see Marla and all that stuff in April, and I couldn't believe what they were asking for the stuff in antique shops. So I was like, wow. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Odd Ephemera. It's our newest thing.
Yep.
we will call this our Murphy's Law episode. So.
Where everything
sure
that
did.
could happen happened. Yes.
It sure did.
Oh boy. Thank you guys again though. It was fun coming on.
Thank you all. We appreciate you joining us.
Stuart, say hi to Amy for us.
I will. And say hi to Tracy. Say hi to Dan. And we'll see y'all this weekend at Ephemerama.
Okay.
Yeah, you open for us, so
Yep. 11 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll see you. I'll be on. I opened
yep,
it.
you're the
pre-show
pre-show,
at 10:45.
and then Stu is the opener. So you better bring the fire, my friend. Bring the fire, like you always do.
All right. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice meeting you guys.
You too.
Well, that is all the time that we have this evening on the Finders Flippers Resell Podcast. Another great one, gentlemen. Episode 45 is in the books.
Love it.
Wow. Also known as our Murphy's Law episode. That was it's a wild show. It was fun. And hey, it just shows that things don't always have to be perfect to be great. So had a lot of fun. And big thanks to Marla and Lillian for coming on. We'll have to have them back on again sometimes. But everybody, make sure you like and subscribe. As Johnny mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're getting real close to hitting 200. I think we're about 17 away now.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching.
Thank you so much to all of our 183 subscribers. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. Gentlemen, have a great week of reselling.
You too.
I guess.